Alright, I don't know if y'all know much about the whole situation, the whole, like, the what's been happening lately with the Doctor Who series. I used to watch a lot of Doctor Who. I was definitely a Whovian. I haven't really caught up in a while, but I guess they did like a whole weird thing where they like made two Doctor Who's, where they kept the old Doctor Who that a lot of people liked, but also introduced this Doctor Who because I guess they wanted to like give him a spin-off or something, and like not so that he could have his own Doctor Who show that's not Doctor Who, but also still is Doctor Who. I don't know, they confused the hell out of me. I don't understand why they had to add two Doctor Who's. Anyway, point is, apparently they're canceling the not the show, but they're canceling, they're gonna fire this dude for being Doctor Who. For apparently, like, not being a good Doctor Who.
Oh, how the turns have tabled. It seems like only yesterday that the 100 or so Doctor Who...
Oh yeah, that lady was also Doctor Who.
...fans that were still watching...
Yeah, she was also Doctor Who.
...the show rejoiced, for the dark times were...
What happened to her? I feel like I feel like they used her for like 2 episodes or something, and then I never heard... Then they immediately went over to the other guy.
Surely ending. Jodie Whittaker's wildly
I don't think it's
unpopular
Gatwa. I don't know what
13th
his first
Doctor
name
was
is.
finally departing for that big blue police box in the sky, and Chris Chibnall, who was to Doctor Who...
They like barely showed her at all as Doctor Who, and then they changed over to Gatwa.
Ryan Johnson was to Star Wars, was also going with her. Even better, Russell T Davies, the man who successfully brought the show back from a decade-long hiatus, was returning as showrunner. David Tennant, by far the most popular Doctor in the modern era, was also...
this guy, David Tennant. They brought him and Gatwa Doctor, and they were like, no, they're both the Doctor at the same time, and I'm like, why? Like, what, do you like not have any confidence in Gatwa as a Doctor? And then I kind of understood because they kind of like didn't even write him well, so maybe they didn't.
Coming back for a series of special episodes.
It's almost as if they were like, trust us, David Tennant, he's the good Doctor that everyone likes. And then we have this other new one that sucks and nobody likes. It's like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you immediately ruin his chances of becoming the Doctor by basically saying that he's not even the actual Doctor anymore?
It really did feel like the adults were back in the room, that the BBC had finally been forced to learn their lesson, and that common sense had won out. Then we actually watched it.
We're binary.
She's not. Because the Doctor's
Male
and female.
And neither. And more.
Ha! Gay!
It didn't take long to realise that this was not the same Russell T Davies we'd had back in 2000.
Which is odd because it's just like, but if he's a Time Lord, doesn't that mean he just reincarnated with like different organs? Like with different junk? I feel like all Time Lords are like that.
2005, or maybe I should say, this is who Russell T Davies was all
I'm just saying, like, I don't think it matters. Like, it's not as big of a deal as they made it to seem.
along. Only now he was fully unleashed, free to indulge his every fantasy and push his every agenda. And like so many other people for whom the...
Oh, I didn't even know they made Doctor Who. I guess what, gay or bi? I guess bi, right? Well, I don't even know. The Doctor's never really had a love interest like that. I guess the TARDIS, that one time that the TARDIS gained the human body. After all, they named the episode the Doctor's Wife.
Is more important than the package it comes in.
There was, you know what? There was a little bit of something going on between him and Jack, huh?
Doctor Who,
well, I'm not gonna spoilers, right? But I'm not gonna say nothing. But if y'all know Jack, if y'all know, old boy Jack with the pretty face, I feel like there was a little bit of tension there between him and the Doctor. You know what I'm saying?
yet again became nothing but a soapbox to lecture the unwashed masses from. The show hadn't been saved. In fact, it was only going to get worse.
But it's so sad!
The hell was that?
Fuck.
Ncuti Gatwa's first season was everything that people feared it would be. A big, campy, silly, preachy, poorly written mess of a show that relegated the Doctor, one of the most imposing, dangerous and intense...
Wait, did they really try to copy the Beatles?
everything that people feared it would be. A big, campy, silly, preachy, poorly written mess of a show that relegated the Doctor, one of the most imposing, dangerous and intelligent characters in the universe, into the role of a crying, useless, effeminate moron who often gets pushed aside while other characters save the day. Whatever remained of the Doctor Who audience, and those must have been some truly hardy souls to have stuck around after the timeless children, were understandably appalled and departed in their millions. And I really mean that. The show's ratings declined by almost
I remember this lady now.
50% over the previous
I didn't
season,
really
and they
finish
weren't
that
exactly
episode. That
great
was
to
kinda
begin with. The season even recorded the lowest
I saw
overnight
bits and
ratings in
pieces
the
of it.
show's entire 62-year history, with barely 2 million people watching episode 7. Jesus, more people watch my fucking YouTube channel than this show now.
That guy
Anyway,
was
even
annoying.
a state-sponsored
I
propaganda
didn't like this fool.
outlet with barely 2 million people watching episode 7. Jesus,
This guy. I didn't like this fool. He was annoying as hell. Actually.
more people watch my fucking YouTube channel than this show now. Anyway, even a state
And I don't get this. They like try to make a big deal about him being like, look at all the people I used to be. It's like, I don't care. Like what?
sponsored propaganda outlet like the BBC
Like what other doctor did they have to keep like shoving? Hey, you remember this doctor? You remember this one? Remember you like this one? Remember you like that one? Hey, remember this one? Remember the other doctors that you like? It's like, stop bringing them up.
who get their funding by literally forcing the British public to finance their dogshit programming could only afford to ignore reality for so long, and in the face of laughably bad ratings and growing public backlash, they and old Russell himself were forced to go on the defensive and deny rumours that the show was being cancelled. Apparently, Russell was actually quite happy that the majority of his own audience had quit. The audience no one ever gets is the under 30s. They just don't watch television anymore, but those figures are astronomical for Doctor Who. It's their top programme in that bracket. That's interesting, Russell, because I'm pretty sure Doctor Who used to be considered a family show, and families generally include young people. But then again, I guess the concept...
Yeah, it's real interesting because I'm pretty sure Doctor Who, like, when I was like in elementary school, I watched a Doctor Who episode where the Doctor gets like stuck inside the box, the cube, to ensure the safety of the universe, and he had to like do a bunch of like time travel stuff. That was a sick one. And he had like the wristwatch time travel thing. Oh, that was so cool.
of a plain old heteronormative British family with a mum and a dad and a couple of kids gathered around the TV for a bit of wholesome escapist fun is to you and your BBC mates what properly fitting trousers are to Mark Hamill. Even Ncuti Gatwa decided to weigh in on the backlash, telling people who had a problem.
There is absolutely no freaking way his actual name is Shitty Gatwa. Right? I know it's Gatwa. There is no way his name is pronounced shitty. Or is that like a joke? I'm gonna need a pronunciation on this one. Ncuti. It actually is Ncuti! Shit, or shit, is it? Ah! N pause Ncuti. Ncuti Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa. Got it.
With his doctor and the show's, modern themes to fuck off and touch grandma.
Ironic, since
even
the-
Ncuti Gatwa decided to weigh in on the backlash, telling people
Oh, he did say Ncuti. I said
who
it's
had a
shitty.
problem with his doctor and the show's,
Well, because the only shooty one here is this gentleman over here on the left.
modern themes to fuck off and touch grass.
I forgot they made out, huh?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if
Admittedly, that was kind of hot, though.
it pays off for him.
Well, as it turned out, they did, and they didn't come back. Even the announcement of a new writing team wasn't enough to revive fan interest. Let's see what we've got here, shall we? Well, first up, there's Juno Dawson, a
I'm not gonna say anything.
transgender author, best known for her novels This Book is Gay and The Gender Games.
Right.
Inua Elams, a Nigerian poet whose work focuses on race and identity.
Not a great plan.
Peter McTighe.
Wait, they hired a freaking poet? A racial identity poet? To write a sci-fi time travel show? About Doctor Who? Okay.
Tig, one of the writers
Why wouldn't they just hire a bunch of sci-fi writers?
for the 13th Doctor. Inua Elams, a Nigerian poet whose work focuses on race and identity.
Not a great plan.
Peter McTighe, one of the writers for the 13th Doctor.
Son of a bitch!
And Sharma Walfall, a winner from a Channel 4 writing competition with approximately 3 credits to her name.
Hold on, though. Out of everyone here, though, she has the best resume. Don't laugh, Negan. Screw you, Negan. I don't even freaking like Negan. But she actually, out of everything you just told me, I feel like she's the most qualified.
Really?
Nice one, BBC. With an all-star lineup like
Nah, out of everybody here, she has the freaking, like, bar none, she has the biggest resume here.
that, how can you go wrong? Anyway, all of this brings us, dear viewer, to the present day, and the latest news that not only has young Shooty decided to bail on the show now that he's finished filming his 2nd season, not only has Russell decided to follow him, but the BBC is now considering shelving the entire thing for at least 5 years. Oh dear, it's almost like there's consequences to our decisions, and if you decide to turn a beloved British institution that's been around even longer than you've been alive into a shitty self-indulgent vanity project that only appeals to people exactly like you, then the consequences is that you're out of a job, sonny.
It never feels important to me, it feels natural. Because you've got to realize.
I gotta say, what really killed it for me, or not like, in a bad way, not in a good way, was the episode with the super babies, with the genius babies. That episode, like, everything about it was stupid, and I didn't like it.
That is my world. It's my only world.
Yeah.
I don't recognize any other world. And if you look at the rest of my work, I mean, that's the work I've been doing since 1999. So it's just natural to me. There's no other way I would write.
See, that right there is the problem with making one single facet of your life into the core of your entire identity. Pretty soon it begins to colour everything that you say and do. And write. Pretty soon you start to believe that everyone sees the world exactly as you do, that the things which matter so much to you matter just as much to the rest of us, that your work is above reproach because you're on the right side of history. Well, as it turns out, it isn't, and you're not, old boy. I mean, it's not like Russell or Shooty have to give a shit about any of this. Gatwa's apparently headed for Hollywood, where he already has roles lined up.
If you don't like it, tough. I had my fun, and that's all that matters.
A source close to the show
Did he
told
just
the
stick a
UK
key
Sun
into his ear?
Shooty
What was
doesn't
that?
want to be tied to the series beyond this and plans to relocate to Los Angeles with several Hollywood projects standing by for him. His team also see a lot of fan backlash from the series and don't want the perception of him still being the Doctor to get in the way of any future work. Yeah, I'm sure he's got a team behind him. Jesus, how big do you think this guy is? Meanwhile, Russell is working on a new show for Channel 4 called Tiptoe, and would it shock you to know that it's based around a group of LGBT characters?
No way!
You've got to realize that is my world.
You're gonna make a TV show about LGBTQ characters and you had to name it Tiptoe? Aren't you feeding into the stereotype a little bit? Alright, whatever.
It's my only world.
Fuck me, one thing I'll say about that dude, at least the man's
Tiptoe
consistent.
through
No,
the
the people that are really gonna lose out
with
from all of this are the
me.
little guys, the production crew, the smaller actors, the technical people, the set builders, and all the other
The bits that I saw, this character, genuinely, I'm not even joking, is literally just like a Walmart customer at 2 or 3 in the morning, the villain. She's literally just a Walmart customer at 2 or 3 in the morning, the villain. Like, that's her entire thing. I'm not even joking. I don't understand what her whole deal was.
roles that go into making a big long-term show like
I should really just sit down and watch the whole thing start to end.
this. Apparently the atmosphere on set was pretty bleak when filming wrapped on season 2 because everyone knew the writing was on the wall and they were probably going to be out of a job when it was all over. The same source who spoke up about
Hated this guy. This is kind of weird.
while leaving also said the
For those who don't know, spoilers, by the way, if you haven't watched the show a whole lot, it's not the craziest spoilers. 'Cause it's technically one of those things where it's like you really just sort of like they go over it once, and it's meant to sort of like be symbolic of like the journeys in the past and journeys in the future, but not really play into the main canon of the series type of deal. You get me? But for those who don't know, in canon, the TARDIS. The TARDIS has a human form. At one point, the TARDIS genuinely became a human, and they sort of played her like the Doctor's wife, because she basically loves the Doctor. They kind of made this whole argument that it wasn't the Doctor that stole the TARDIS from his homeworld when he escaped. It was actually the TARDIS that stole him. And has basically all these adventures, all these, like, everywhere that he goes with the box, it's actually been the TARDIS and the TARDIS's will that has been, like, sending him on these adventures or taking him to the place where he is needed most, or the place where he has to be. So the TARDIS, being this, like, extra-dimensional entity, this, like, super entity being, basically can see all of time and space throughout all of history and sends the Doctor wherever the Doctor is needed the most. Or where she believes the Doctor needs himself to go. One of the best episodes, and I love it. I love the premise, and beyond that, I love how it really reflects and explains this sort of like mythical thing we've always thought about as like how does the Doctor decide where to go or when to go, or like how come the TARDIS can act finicky at times or sometimes sends us to the wrong place. It's because it has a mind of its own. It's its own living entity. Unfortunately, this was a very temporary situation where the TARDIS was temporarily given a human form for story purposes. But in actuality, the TARDIS it's a box. This is the TARDIS. The human form is the temporary illusion. The actual TARDIS is this box. However, listen, chat. I am a simple monkey. I'm a very simple monkey with very simple monkey brain and a very simple monkey mentality. You tell me right now the TARDIS would not be pissed the hell off if old Anubis over here was just like straddling the top of her head, his freaking dog schlong, just freaking like hitting the back of the freaking window, and like for billions of years or whatever the frick they claim that he's been doing it for years and years and years. Like, you don't think the TARDIS would have at least been like, hey, by the way, there's this like weird dog guy who will not stop dry humping the back of my head, and it is getting annoying. Like, who the hell thought this was a good idea?
The show's been poorly managed in recent years, and there's a lot of people who've been working on this show for years and are now being cast aside due to poor leadership. Apparently, people had warned that the episodes were becoming too caught up in an agenda rather than...
I almost feel... Like, I'm not even that big of a Whovian, and I feel like, how the hell do I know about this more than you?
Focusing on telling a story, and those people were apparently shouted down and ignored. Because of course they were. Because Doctor Who isn't allowed to be just a fun... If
I'm not mistaken, and I think I'll remember, the reason why every time the Doctor reincarnates, the TARDIS also changes is because she likes to, like, it's kind of like a cute, like, husband and wife, kind of like, oh, you know, my husband changed style, so I might as well change style to match him, you know what I mean? It's kind of cute.
Escapist
I love
sci-fi show that everyone
it's like, why the hell would the Doctor regenerating also regenerate a freaking piece of equipment? It's like, why would your car regenerate if you regenerate? It's freaking the TARDIS. The TARDIS wants to match with
It's
you.
A show made by wealthy metropolitan progressive elitists who think the entire world are...
Those little bits of lore that they just sort of like inject in there. That's kind of like, hey, it's like, it reminds me of One Piece, where it's kind of like the journey is more important than the destination, but they add these little cool little like lore hints that I just love so much, especially when it comes to like the Time War and all that. I would love it if they continued to keep throwing hints about the Time War, even though for the most part we kind of already know what went down and how it happened. I think it would still be just like it's a freaking war. Like there's never not gonna be another story to tell about it. You get me?
Are also wealthy
even if it's not necessarily about
progressive
the Doctor's
elitists and can't conceive of anything or anyone outside of their own tiny little bubble. And of course, now
I always wondered if they were ever going to sorry, now I'm just geeking out about Doctor Who. I always wondered if they were ever going to have the Doctor travel back in time to roughly the same time as the Time Wars, but basically, not on his home world, but like on other parts of the galaxy to see if potentially they freaking like how the time war affected everyone. I think it'd be sick.
Bubbles burst and the show's teetering on the brink of cancellation. The inevitable cope from legacy journalists has begun. My favourite's got to be this article from the Radio Times, where we've moved from "it's not happening," skipped the whole "it might be happening, but it's..."
What sucks too is that I feel like first of all, the writing was garbage. This dude can kill it if the writing wasn't so trash. I feel like in the script they demanded that he like cry and get scared and run away, like way too damn like much. And I'm okay with running away. That's not an issue. Like, it's the doctor. No duh. The moment there's anything dangerous, like bro has a screwdriver. What the hell is he gonna do? Of course he's gonna run away. But like there's running away, and then there's like he would like panic and cry and like act scared and like be like I got nothing. I can't do anything. I'm so like it's like what the frick? This ain't the doctor. The doctor runs away, but it's more like a tactical retreat. You feel me? Like bro is running away while also trying to think of a plan to get the hell out of this situation. He's always a step ahead of everyone because maybe because he's a Time Lord, maybe because he's intelligent, but I think it's mainly to do because he just has so much experience. He's a veteran, he's a freaking Time Lord, so he's been alive for who knows how many millennia. He's freaking been unalive how many times, like, you get me? So I always like that mentality. He's this old, wizened, like, person that just has all the wisdom in the world, and that's why most times it is his experience and his wisdom and his sort of like, let's say his morals, I guess. Whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. Like the like his whole deal is basically sort of like self-sacrifice and sort of like thinking outside the box. Get it? Outside the box because of the TARDIS. Whatever, you get my point. The point is he thinks in a way that most people do not think because of his experiences. And so that whatever the word for that is, that's what I can't remember. But that's what I feel about the Doctor. This guy, I feel like if they actually genuinely gave him a decent script and directed him to act better, like in a different way, I think he could have freaking like done a lot better. So much so that I think they should flat out just give him his own little freaking sci-fi show that had nothing to do with the Doctor. Like, just like I'm sure he could do something. It doesn't have to be sci-fi. Just get him a better team. Like, actually, a lot of actors are like that. Unfortunately, a lot of actors you can easily tell they can act. But it's like kind of like they just like they're obviously being like whether they agree with the freaking wokeness of it all or whatever the frick, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that they can probably pull something good off. It's just a matter of like they're kind of like in this circle of friends that's just not they're not unleashing his full potential. Let's say.
It's a good thing excuse and jumped straight to "it's always been happening
Lois
and
Griffin
you were
wrote
just too
this article.
stupid to realise it."
So at the bottom left.
No, it hasn't, you fucking spam sandwich. That's why Doctor Who was able to survive longer than the average life expectancy of a Scottish human, by appealing to a broad audience, by telling interesting, well-written and entertaining stories that anyone could get wrapped up in, whether they were male or female, gay or straight, black or white, old or young.
Bro, my first episode watching Doctor Who ever, way back in like elementary school, was that episode where the Doctor Who gets stuck inside the cube by the Daleks and all the other freaking aliens, and he has to hang out with that one fool that's in love with Rose or whatever her name was, and bro had to like stay and protect the box for millions of years. I didn't know the first thing about Doctor Who, but that freaking episode freaking made me a fan for life.
Or rich or poor. There was something for everyone in Doctor Who, because story and character always came before the message. Because the people making it actually cared about the show and its history and its audience. Because they were more than just obsessive ideologues determined to push their particular worldview onto everyone else. It's the same retarded all art is political argument that gets trotted out whenever people push back against.
Yo, for real though. Hey, for real though. And that's the worst part about it, though, is that people damn near want to, like, demonize escapism. Where it's like, nah, bro.
against divisive identity politics and sneering lectures that get awkwardly crowbarred into projects where they don't belong. What they really mean when they say this is that all art should validate my particular worldview, parrot my beliefs, reinforce my opinions, because those are the only ones that can possibly be true, right?
Wrong.
But funnily enough, the moment that art expresses different ideas and opinions, ones they don't personally agree with, suddenly it becomes dangerous and harmful and has to be stopped at all
suddenly you have to
costs.
shut up and you're
because
not,
we
you shouldn't
can't
be
possibly
political.
have the approved metropolitan progressive.
Like I've always said, and I will continue to say, I think every single person, no matter how important you are, no matter how famous you are, every single person, that includes Taylor Swift. I'll use Taylor Swift as an example because she's so freaking famous and so and people have made that argument about her before. He has any celebrity that is famous enough that you would consider it like on a Taylor Swift level or less, you know, it doesn't have to be that, but even a major celebrity on the level of Taylor Swift has absolutely every single right to have her political opinion. She has every single right to state her opinion, have her opinion, and share her opinion, her political beliefs, all that good stuff. The only time that I personally started to get a sour taste in my mouth is when specifically celebrities start to try to push their political opinion. They start to push their views on people, trying to convince people to join them. Even if it is technically correct, even if I agree with them, I just do not see that having any place in the entertainment industry. There's a time and a place for everything, and this is not it. These were wise words spoken to me by a very famous scientist known as Professor Oak in Pokemon Red. Alright.
Aggressive elitist worldview being
Either that or it was
challenged
Norman
and held
from
up to
Emerald. I can't
scrutiny now,
remember,
can
but
we?
one of them.
Because then maybe people would come to the realization that what we believe is actually bullshit, and everything we've convinced ourselves to be true is actually a lie. That is what good art, Doctor Who included, used to do so well, carefully weaving alternative ideas and different perspectives into entertaining storylines, and trusting the audience to form their own opinions about them, giving them something to think about, you might say. But in recent years, ideas and perspectives have morphed into simple, blunt propaganda. You can't be trusted to form your own opinions anymore because you might form opinions that we don't personally like. So instead, we're just gonna straight up tell you how to feel about things because we know better than you. Because we're smarter than you. We're more enlightened than you. Because we...
And see, the problem there is that a show intended to be entertainment and escapism instead becomes propaganda. And I didn't freaking come to Doctor Who to get propagandized towards. I came here to see him defeat aliens. Okay?
Are on
and
the
save
right
world.
side of history. Well,
do
it
cool
seems you're
gadget
actually
stuff.
not. It seems you delved too deep and too greedily, and you awoke something in your audience that you didn't expect. And in the end, that was your downfall, and you've got no one to blame but yourselves. So go ahead and shelve Doctor Who for 5 years, or 10 years, or 20 years. Nobody gives a shit anymore because the show made itself irrelevant. Doctor Who is dead, and the BBC killed it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
I'll be honest,
Oh,
I am not surprised.
Ganda.
I'm not surprised that they replaced him, but I want to make this very, very clear. I want to make this very clear. Got what? I absolutely I'm not surprised that they fired him. At the same time, I'll say this, I'm not surprised they fired him because no duh. They've damn near, first of all, even if you did like him, they never gave him a genuine chance to be the Doctor because they freaking immediately brought back David Tennant just to basically show, like, basically announcing to the world that, hey, he's not even the Doctor, he's a freaking spin-off. He's not even like, because now there's two Doctors. If you like the other Doctor, there's a Doctor. If you like this BS that we're doing, then there you go. That's a whole nother branch, a whole nother reality now. Or he exists too. It's kind of like, no, you either dedicate. If you're going to drop a turd on my table, on my dining room table, You better stand next to it when I freaking find it. You better stand next to it proud, motherfudger. You don't get this shit on my table and then freaking act like you don't know where it came from or act like it's not your freaking business. You did this. No, you stand proud by your mess. Okay? This is some BS. However, Gatwa is absolutely a scapegoat here. It is not. He was nowhere. He was absolutely not even the primary issue with the show. Are you kidding me? Nonsense. The writing, the directing, the hidden messaging, the politics, all of this stuff ruined the show. Gatwa was just your mouthpiece to push out your nonsense, and that's why you the NBC writers and all this, you got the show freaking hated, and you got what fired. This isn't. You can say a lot about Gatwa, and I don't agree with a lot of with everything he said. He said some stupid things here and there, but he definitely I can't see them. I don't understand how it is that this is like like they're basically. It's not all his fault, is what I'm trying to say here. It's not 100% him. He's like at most he's like a 20%, and even that seems exaggerated. It's his fault like 20%, but not even really that. 10% of those 20% is because they freaking made him a weird spin-off David Tennant split situation. So they really gave him like a bad hand to play with. I truly feel. Whether he is a genuinely amazing actor, I haven't seen him in anything else besides the few episodes that I've seen of him. But I feel like they're definitely. I don't want people to forget that the directors can't really make a good character. Period. There's not exactly. Whether it's Doctor Who, Gatwa, or a different character altogether, they're not very good at creating characters or writing them. So just remember, at bare minimum, 80% of this, I blame on the directors, the writers, and whoever the hell else is in charge of the freaking show. Behind the scenes, not the actors. Not even close to the same thing. Alright, we'll move on. Drop a like. Sorry, I just hate this because I actually did really like Doctor Who. Though I haven't been the craziest biggest fan compared to other stuff. I do like Doctor Who. I think it's freaking super cool. And it's kind of sucks to see that there's not a lot there's not much to look forward to in the newest episodes. But I still, I'm still catching up. I haven't even gotten to the female, doctor yet. So we'll see. I still gotta catch up. There have been times where I hear about a particular episode that people are going crazy over, and so I'll skip ahead and watch, then jump back to where I'm at. But frankly, there's so many freaking episodes of Doctor Who, and they're all hour long each. I'm freaking streaming here every day. I just forget. It's been a while. Anyway, let's move on, my dudes. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today! I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi! That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut!